Have you ever been so broke, so tired, so straight up desperate that you texted the wrong number just to get formula for your baby and ended up texting a billionaire who flipped your whole world upside down? Huh. What would you do, sis? Would you block him, run, or let that man change your life? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened to me. My name is Nia Brooks, and honey, let me pull up a chair and tell you this story like I'm sitting on my couch with you right now. Cup of tea in my hand because Lord knows I still can't believe it myself. Grab your snacks because this one got drama, shade, tears, and a happy ending that made me believe in miracles again. You ready? All right, here we go. It was past midnight in my tiny Chicago apartment. The kind of cold, hollow hour where even the windy city outside seemed to hold its breath. I was sitting on the kitchen floor, legs pulled up to my chest, that threadbare baby blanket wrapped around my shoulders like a shield. Lights off, not because I wanted the vibe, but because the power company don't do sympathy extensions, baby. My little Kai was crying from the bedroom. His bottle that night? Mostly water. I tried not to stare at that empty can of formula on the counter. It was mocking me. I picked up my phone with shaky hands. My thumb hovered over my brother Brandon's contact. He had helped before, not happily, but he had. I didn't want to ask again, but tonight wasn't about pride. It was about a baby who didn't understand why his tummy hurt. I typed real quick, Brandon, I'm sorry to bother you again. I need $50 for formula. Kai's almost out. I get paid Friday. I'll pay you back, please. My thumb trembled and I hit send. I didn't double check the number. I didn't even look at the name. I just dropped the phone, put my forehead on my knees, and waited. 5 minutes later, buzz. I snatched that phone up and read, I think you meant to send that to someone else. My stomach dropped. One wrong digit. I had texted a stranger. I'm so sorry, I typed back fast. Please ignore that. Wrong number. I locked the screen, tossed the phone, pulled the blanket tighter. Another failure on the pile, you know? 3 blocks away, in a penthouse that looked down on half of Chicago, Jamal Albright stared at that message on his private phone. He never gave that number out. Not to press, not to assistants, only family. And that list had gotten shorter every year. The text wasn't spam. It wasn't a scam. It was raw, real. A mama negotiating with her own dignity. You should have ignored it, Jamal. Most nights he would have, but instead, he typed back, Is your baby gonna be okay? I stared at my screen like, what kind of stranger follows up like that? My first thought was, block him, honey. But something about the question, how simple it was, made me pause. We'll manage, I wrote. Sorry again. I can help, he replied. No strings. I scoffed out loud. Thanks, but I don't take money from strangers. Smart policy. I'm Jamal now. I'm not a stranger. I didn't reply. I rocked Kai back to sleep. I cried quiet. The kind of cry that don't come from just being broke, but from being tired of being broke. Then I did something I swore I'd never do. I sent him my Venmo. 3 seconds later, buzz, $5,000 received from Jamal Albright. I sat frozen, girl. Blinked twice. Opened the app. Checked again. $5,000. This is too much, I typed. I only needed 50. It's already yours. No catch. One less thing to worry about. I didn't cry when I got laid off. Didn't cry when they took my car. Didn't cry when Kai's daddy ghosted me after I told him I was pregnant. But this broke me wide open. My hands shook. Thank you. I don't even know what to say. You don't have to say anything, he replied. Just take care of Kai. And then I noticed I never told him my son's name. I couldn't sleep. Even after Kai finally drifted off with a full belly, I sat on the edge of my mattress staring at that phone like it might disappear. I reread the transfer, still there, still real. For a long time, I just stared, daring myself to believe this wasn't a scam, that this man Jamal didn't have some quiet plan to call in a favor later. People don't just send thousands to strangers. At least they never had to me. I opened the chat again. You didn't have to do that. A moment passed, then another. Finally, he replied, I know I didn't. I wanted to. Across the city, Jamal leaned back in that leather chair that never once made him comfortable. Still in the office, always stayed late. Not because he had to, but because home didn't feel like home anymore. Not since he lost his wife. The glass walls reflected the skyline, cold, expensive, empty. Why would you help someone like me? I asked. You don't even know me. He stared at the words longer than he should have. Most people who hit his line wanted partnerships, investments, favors. This was the first honest why in years. So he told me part of the truth. Because once upon a time, someone helped me when they didn't have to. I've never forgotten that. I want to pay you back, I said. For what? The formula? The kindness? For not ignoring me? I'll figure it out. He respected that. Even while I was drowning, I was still holding my pride with both hands. Tell me what kind of formula Kai needs. I want to send more. Supplies, not just money. Only if it's really no strings. I don't do strings, Nia. Strings are for people playing games. The next morning, knock on my door. My heart stopped. Nobody ever knocked here. Landlord texted. Neighbors barely looked my way. I peeked through the peephole. Delivery driver with 4 massive boxes. Delivery for Nia Brooks? I signed. Opened them on the living room floor with shaking hands. Formula, diapers, wipes, bottles, organic purees, even clothes. Not the cheap stuff, the good stuff you see Instagram moms flexing. At the bottom, a small envelope. He should have what he needs. Kai deserves better than barely getting by. Jamal. No logo, no return address. Just that signature I didn't recognize from a man I hadn't even seen. I didn't touch the boxes again for hours. They sat there like a dream I was scared to wake from. Kai fell asleep in my arms after a warm bottle, his first full one in 3 days. I just sat there staring at my baby's chest rising and falling, wondering what world I just stepped into. I wasn't naive, y'all. People don't do this without a catch. But there was no camera, no viral video, just silence. And that name, Jamal Albright. I typed his name in the browser. Results hit faster than my nerves could handle. Jamal Albright, CEO of Helix Core Industries. Net worth $11.8 billion. Private tech mogul. Former military. Media shy. Widowed. No kids. My stomach flipped. This wasn't a generous stranger. This was the ghost mogul who owned half the patents in AI medicine. Only 3 photos online, all serious, no smile. One from a Senate hearing, cold eyes, clenched jaw. So why me? Why send $5,000 in baby supplies to a woman with no job, no car, and a leaky roof? I typed back, why are you really doing this? He didn't answer right away. 10 minutes, 20, my heart sank. Then, because I know what it's like to lose someone you can't save, and no child should ever feel that kind of pain. It wasn't pity, it was recognition. Do you work? He asked later. I did, until Kai and the company folded and the daycare shut down. So no Not right now. What was your field? Biochem research, mostly diagnostics. I interned at Novagen before things got complicated, but I also know how to scrub toilets, make lattes, and calculate taxes I can't afford. He surprised me again. Come by Helix Core tomorrow, 11 a.m. Ask for Ava. No strings, just a conversation. You offering me a job? I'm offering you a chance to take one back. The next day, I walked into that downtown tower carrying Kai and his carrier, wearing my cleanest jeans, thrifted blouse, and a blazer that hadn't zipped since before my pregnancy. The lobby was clean lines, high ceilings, quiet efficiency that made me feel underdressed but seen. Ava Hayes, chief of staff, met me on the 37th floor. Warm smile, tablet in hand. She showed me a fully furnished nursery first. Crib, changing table, toys, blackout curtains. He thought it might help you feel comfortable. I almost cried right there. Then Jamal walked in. Tall, composed, expensive, but real. Tired eyes, slight stubble. A man who built empires but hadn't smiled in a long time. Nia, he said like it was the most natural thing. Thanks for coming. Before we talked money, he was clear. You owe me nothing. This isn't a test. I don't believe in charity, but I believe in investing in people. He slid a folder across the table. Temporary position, 3 months, flexible hours, pay that made my eyes water. And if it wasn't a fit, I could walk, no questions. I looked at Kai, then at Jamal. I'll take it. First day, I showed up with Kai in a soft gray sling. Nobody stared. Ava had coffee ready. My office had dual monitors and a glass wall looking straight into the nursery. Kai was already cooing at plush blocks like he owned the place. I dove into the audit logs like it was personal. Baseline deviations, inconsistencies, patterns. By the end of week 2, I found it. The same vendor name popping up under fake project codes. Payments routing through a shell company in Delaware. Sophisticated, hidden. Someone inside was siphoning money, slow, strategic, and smart. I brought the flash drive straight to Jamal like he asked. No one else. He looked at the files, jaw tight. You're right. It's too clean. Whoever did it knows the system. Turned out, it was Victor Harris, Chief Financial Officer, hired 2 years ago, pushed through changes that gave his team exclusive oversight, and quietly removed cross-checks. Jamal already suspected, but he didn't know who he could trust. Until me. We dug deeper. Ghost credentials, borrowed logins, emails. Every piece pointed back to Victor. Then Victor made his move. Called Jamal in for a check-in. Threatened him with fake evidence. Tried to force him to resign quietly, or he'd drag me into it too. Said I was disposable. I watched the whole thing on the security feed from my office. My blood was boiling, honey. But I stayed calm because I knew we had more. We brought in Kendra, former FBI forensic accountant, off the books. She verified everything. We leaked a fake memo as bait. Victor bit. Then we dropped the press release. Helix Core investigates high-level financial misconduct. Federal agents got the 38-page file that night. Victor's face was on every finance blog by morning. The final meeting? I watched from the nursery feed. Victor walked in cocky. Walked out escorted by security. Badge deactivated. Face broken. Board voted to suspend everything tied to him. Federal charges coming. By the next morning, I was headlines. Single mother whistleblower exposes multi-million fraud. My inbox blew up, but I didn't want the spotlight. I just wanted my life back, or maybe the one I was building. Jamal offered me permanent, head of internal audit, full autonomy, build my own team, set my own rules. I took it. 3 weeks later, I walked into that boardroom as the lead, not the charity case, not the wrong number girl. The woman who saved the company while raising her baby with a bottle in one hand and evidence in the other. And that night, Jamal and I took a quiet walk outside the building, city lights around us. He stopped under a street lamp and said, "Nia, I don't think that wrong number was an accident. I think the universe is better at hiring than HR." I laughed, then got quiet. "You ever think about what happens next?" "Every day," he said. "I'd like you and Kai in my life permanently, not just as a team, as mine, if you're ready." I told him to ask me in person. A minute later, my doorbell rang. He was standing there with flowers and that small smile I'd come to love. Kai reached for him the second he walked in. Jamal scooped my baby up like it was the most natural thing in the world. We're still figuring it out, y'all. But for the first time in years, I'm not reacting to the next problem. I'm building forward. My name on the lease, bank account that don't give me anxiety, and a man who saw me when I was at my lowest and chose to lift me up. Kai's got a nursery at home now. Jamal's got a family again. And I've got peace. So tell me, sis, if you were me that midnight, texting the wrong number with tears in your eyes, would you have sent that Venmo? Or would you have blocked him and kept struggling? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. If my story moved you, if it gave you hope that one wrong text can lead to the right forever, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Even bigger, deeper stories are coming, full of drama, revenge, love, and Black women winning. Thank you for staying with me until the very end of this unforgettable chapter. I love y'all for real. Next time, I'll tell you what happened when Victor tried one last desperate move from jail. But that's another story. Until then, take care of your babies, hold your peace, and never be scared to text the wrong number. You just might text the right future. I'll see you in the next one. Love you.